I'm going.
So ready. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, Wine Wednesday, people.
Hi.
Happy Wine Wednesday.
Yay.
It's your day. Best day of the week.
Cheers, Flat Waynes.
Cheers, Flat Wayne.
We're missing Wayne today, so.
He's going to sit right here.
So there's that.
There we go.
So we'll see if he logs on and watches.
Right.
Why is it that as soon as this starts, everything goes to heck?
Oh, there are new options. I can do little emoji things on mine now and wave, it looks like.
Well, that's fun.
Well,
I think just on your
nice.
phone.
Yeah.
So I can't do it from my computer.
Oh.
Well, anywho.
Yeah.
So
Anywho.
Oh, yeah, so our Wi-Fi's being slow.
I'm not on
I
Wi-Fi.
switched over to
Oh, I guess I'm
hotspot.
on Wi-Fi here.
Right,
Maybe we're all
right,
hogging
right.
it with the
Uh-huh.
video, but my phone's not. So anyway, today's Wine Wednesday and real estate.
Mm-hmm.
We have a topic to discuss.
Mm-hmm.
What is the meaning of life, the world, and everything?
Yeah, so let's get into that.
Yep.
What do y'all think?
So.
Does anyone remember the answer?
Home sale contingencies.
Yes.
What contingencies?
Oh, that's it.
When you buy a house, what contingencies are in your contract, and then how are people writing those contingencies out to win multiple offers?
Excellent.
Hmm.
So, probably the most common one that you see, the easiest ones in the contract are finance and inspection.
Mm-hmm.
Most listings that you see when they go in contract will say listing contingent finance and inspection.
Mm-hmm.
So what that means is once the buyers agree to everything term-wise with inspection, and once their financing is approved and through, then
Then they can
it
close.
will be sold. And
Yes.
It can be closed. Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty simple. And we've talked about appraisals and inspections a lot.
Yeah.
Because those come up a lot of issues.
I guess also, I know that we've talked about it, but if something comes back in your inspection, meaning contingent on that, if something comes back wrong with your inspection or something that you aren't comfortable with, you don't like, that you can't come into agreement with to have it repaired, then you don't have to buy the house.
Right.
And the same thing with financing, you have to get your financing.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know people are writing those out of contracts periodically. I never advise my buyers unless they absolutely have to have this house and they're going to live in it for a long time
I
to
think
waive
that
appraisal.
is a really risky thing right now that people are doing. And
So even again, what that means is that you are writing out your right to do, you can still do an inspection, but if something comes back on the inspection that you don't like, then you're buying the house as is. So I think that you can still get out of the contract.
You can.
Leave it.
Yes, you
Yeah,
can.
you leave it so you can still get out, but
But you're not going to ask for anything, basically.
Right.
Is if you're waiving inspection,
and
if you're waiving the appraisal, then
Well, wait a
what's
minute. You're waiving the remedy period.
Well, no. Some people will actually also. I've had they
So-
didn't even do an inspection.
Yeah, let's be clear about that because
Right.
people are waiving the entire inspection, which means you're not having an inspection, you're not getting out due to something
Right.
being
and these items
catastrophic
have to be
or
written in when you write a purchase contract. So on competitive properties, people are writing out inspections and they're writing out the request to remedy period or either or to help win a house.
Writing out the remedy is probably the most common, and that's one that I tell my buyers, you can do that, and that you're still fine, right? Because you can still walk away from the house and you're still safe.
the remedy period. I'm sorry. The remedy period is when you're asking the seller for things to be repaired.
Right.
That's what people are waiving as well.
Right.
They'll say they'll take the house as is. They're still doing the inspection, but they're taking
Hi,
it
John.
as is. So sorry. We get in the whole real estate mode. We know what we're saying.
Right, I think
And-
it gets confusing. And even I've had people that don't understand what as is means. So as is you're buying the house in the condition that it's in. You're not going to be asking for any type of repairs. Someone thought that it was as is, like they can just have everything in it. Like
It's not coming furnished.
Sometimes.
Sometimes,
I mean,
but-
it can. as is means that you won't be, when we see a listing that says as is, that means that you can't, they're not gonna do repairs for you. So you need
Right.
to be aware of that when going to look at a listing that is sold as is.
Now, on the appraisal side, though, that is really, really, really risky for a buyer to waive.
Right.
You have to be in a
So-
position to be able to do that. So basically, let's say your offer is for $200,000, the appraisal comes in at $175,000, then you're agreeing that you're going to bring $25,000 extra on top of your down payment, on top of your closing costs. All of that you're bringing to closing, so you're instantly $25,000 upside, not necessarily upside down because you made a down payment, but you're $25,000 worse off than what you would have been.
So appraisal is what
Hi,
the
Amanda.
lender does. The lender hires an appraiser to
And so your
put
house,
value on the home.
Yeah.
They're going to be looking at what they think are comparable properties to yours, 90 days or 120 days past sales, and then they're going to look at different things: square footage, features, upgrades, bedrooms.
and so
So
your
forth.
purchase is also contingent upon your appraisal. So say your appraisal, did you touch on that? If your appraisal, your appraisal has to come back at your purchase price.
For the lender to give you
Give
the
you-
money
yes.
for the purchase price.
Yes,
They will
exactly.
only lend on what the appraisal says the home is worth.
Right. And we can talk about appraisals another time and issues that we've seen come up with those.
Right.
But regardless, that's what it is. And that's what the bank is going to look at.
Right.
Because there were issues in the past where we had lenders who were working with appraisers and without even barely seeing the home were just like, oh yeah, it's worth whatever the contract price is.
Well-
And that's why things tightened up.
Yeah, it used to be you could roll closing costs into the loan.
Mhm.
Used to be if you wanted to do upgrades on your home once you purchased it, you could finance that into the
Mhm.
loan. So that's, but not anymore.
Right.
No.
So, since we're talking about buying and selling homes,
Mm-hmm.
two of the other common contingencies I think we see is contingent on a home sale or a home purchase.
Yeah, so what that means is first, home sale.
Yes.
If you have a home sale contingency, that would be if you have a house, you have to sell it in order to purchase your next one.
And that's usually a buyer who's going to, that is
Yes,
a buyer
that
who's
would be
gonna
a
have
buyer.
contingency.
Yeah.
Because you may need that cash
Right.
to,
Yeah, down
to,
payment.
get, to get to closing.
Debt to income ratio.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like a lot of
Such
people
that-
need to sell their house in order to buy. Not everybody, but it's very common.
Now, in this competitive market, if a seller will accept a home sale contingency, if I'm working with a seller, we will typically put in the contract that we can still show it and accept offers, and if we get a bona fide offer, then the buyer has so much time to release the home sale contingency, or they have so much time to list it and get it in contract.
And then that's when we hit on an escape clause.
Right.
So you have to have your house in contract within 72 hours, or they can release you of that contract, and you
Mhm.
will no longer be buying it
Yeah.
if they get another offer. And so you'll see that in the MLS. I mean, possibly if you have your searches set up that way,
Mhm.
you will see contingent escape.
Yeah, because no, if you don't have to have a home sale contingency or you don't have something you have to sell in order to buy, you can snag up those homes that are
Right.
contingent
Oh,
escape.
absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
in the current market, I am definitely adding contingent escape into buyer searches. Now, I am not seeing them at all. It's not like adding
Because everything's
5-10 houses
multiple
into those
offers.
searches. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, people just, they,
Since everything's multiple offers
Yeah.
now, where people, if you have a home sale contingency, sellers aren't really even considering those offers. I think that they'll consider them more if your current house is in contract through inspections
Right.
and you have a close date.
Yes. Yeah.
But other than that, it's really hard to get a seller
Mm.
to look at your offer.
now the thing of that is that you can push a close date out further. If you have, depending on where your home is, you may be in an area where you have a desirable price point, you
And
have
you're
a home
gonna-
that's
right.
gonna, yeah, and you're gonna sell, you're gonna get in contract, you're gonna sell before. But so if you push that close date out just a wee bit, you
It'll
can
give time.
likely get your home sold. So
Well, and remember when Wayne
Yeah.
sold his last house, He sold before he closed on his new one, and they actually had to put all their stuff in in 2 pods, and did Airbnb, or
It's
they
stressful.
lived with a friend, and then went on
It
vacation.
is really
Yeah,
stressful.
it's
And
stressful.
I think a lot of people are having a hard time in this market because everybody wants. It seems that everybody wants to buy a house. House prices are raising and interest rates are raising. And
Now, because it's a seller's market, though, sellers can and do get a home purchase contingency.
Yeah, so what does that mean?
Oh. I hate when I see the MLS. It's like contingent on the sellers finding a house. Because how hard was it for your buyers to find that house? And now
Right.
they have to wait until the sellers find a house of their liking with the home sale contingency.
Which, just in case anyone knows, I know of an area that does short-term rentals. So just found that out because I did have clients that just bought a home and they actually had a home sale contingency. The sellers ended up pushing the close date out a couple weeks because they needed to find suitable housing. They didn't have that in the contract, like they didn't have a home purchase contingency. But they did not ever find a house,
Yeah.
and
It's
so
tough.
they're going into short-term rental.
Right, people are looking for houses for such a long time, and then for them, if you're buying a house that has a contingency, then for the sellers to find something, you could be waiting months.
Yeah,
I mean,
it can
months
be.
on end, and I think that I have written a contract on it, but they found the house really quickly. But would you guys write in the contract that they have to find it by so and so date?
In a seller's market, no.
On the sell side,
On the buy side,
no.
Because it's still a seller's market. The seller has
Right.
such the upper hand that you can try that, but I think
Yeah.
that you would probably lose.
I think so too.
I mean, it's worth a shot, though,
Right.
right? I mean,
It's like, well, how would you only get one shot in this market? Get in the house.
What's
So-
happening on my phone? Is
What's
this one of those drink for every life thing happening down there?
We can't
Because
see
y'all have done
any
that
comments.
before. Yeah, the internet's not working, so laptop's closed. Oh, yeah, it was. Okay, drink. Chug a glass.
That's so funny.
now, there's another contingency that I see periodically, and these are unique homes, but it's contingent on court approval.
Oh.
So,
like
an
an estate sale?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in that instance, you may need to wait on the court to approve it, but the court is usually ready and the attorney should be on the stick, so that should not delay you too much.
What are you doing?
You're gonna have all kinds of likes on yours. That's really funny.
It's broken.
What
Do you
other,
think it's broken?
no,
I think that's definitely on purpose.
what other contingencies are you seeing? I mean, those are really the 5 big ones.
I think the really big one is that people are writing out the appraisal contingency.
Yeah, that seems to be well, for instance, I had a buyer who was cash and
So that means no appraisal.
2-week close and no financing worries. I mean, you don't have to go
Yeah.
through underwrite. It's done deal.
Right.
And because people were waiving the appraisal and going so ridiculously high above list price, cash meant nothing.
Yeah.
Meant nothing. They were willing to risk the financing portion of it just
And
to
if-
get that higher price
If
and the
people
cash.
have cash on hand and you really, really, really want a house, then they will waive your appraisal.
Yeah.
Which you just have to. You don't know how much money you're gonna have to pay over.
You speaking in that
I see
situation?
so many people are writing it in the MLS now. Like
Mhm.
agents are writing that into the MLS. Basically to get this house, waive your appraisal, waive your inspection rights, waive all your rights, so you can get a house.
Yeah. And I just don't like that climate.
I know.
No.
I
I've
don't
never
think it's
recommended
safe.
it to my
I
clients.
think
If
it's
they want to do
kind
it,
of
they can.
irresponsible. But
I mean, depending on the
know,
house and what you're getting it for, if you're getting a house that you already know is a junker and you're doing the rehab
Yeah.
flip type of thing, that's different. But if it's one you're going to live in, that's
I know,
totally
and
different.
it's like you're not even getting a good deal.
Mhm.
You're giving up all of your rights and you're paying over what
Mhm.
it's worth. Like
Right.
it just doesn't.
I
It's a tough market.
had a situation on a listing that should be closing this week. It was a house that totally needed redone, just north of here by Shawnee Hills. And one offer was waiving the appraisal, so it was a financed offer on conventional financing. The other was a cash offer. They were both the same, but the cash offer had a contingency of getting approval for what they needed to do from zoning. And they went with the financed offer.
Really?
Because people will put that in there for rehabs or potential developments as long as zoning approval. It's more common in commercial property, but they'll do it in residential, and they ended up not getting it because of that. Because the seller didn't. She said, "I don't know what the zoning folks are going to do. We're in a township. Who knows?"
Well,
so the other one was pretty much a done deal.
Yeah. Well, there it is.
I didn't even know about that.
Well, I wouldn't have thought to. I mean, I don't do much with investors or rehab stuff, so I wouldn't have.
Yeah, so I mean, if you
Consider
are going to do things like splits, combinations, change use for a property from multifamily to single family or vice versa, in those situations, if you can't use it for its proposed use, you may need to write that in.
Sure, that makes sense. Yeah.
Because if you're not going to be able to use it for what you need to, then that's a problem.
Yeah, I had a client once who was going to build a home on a lot, and this person consistently would write offers for $75,000 to $100,000 below list price, right? Because he wanted to get the best deal he could. And a couple years ago was a seller's market, and those kind of things are just not. You're not going to get anything, which he never did. Except one time he offered on a lot that $75,000 below, and they accepted. And A, I was floored. B, I was like, okay, what's wrong? What's wrong with this? And sure enough, it wasn't buildable. There was so many easements on the lot. First of all, it was like say a 2 acre or an acre and a half lot that the owner was splitting, so they were selling off the other.
Okay.
But there were drainage easements and all these things that you would have had to build maybe like a 10 by 10 home 30 stories up. Like that was the only thing you could build there. It was ridiculous.
So you put a silo there?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Really skinny
So I
one.
assume he didn't buy it.
He didn't buy it, but yeah.
But a simple call to the development department in most jurisdictions will let you know. Because you're right, you need to know about setback requirements and height restrictions, and if you're going to have to get a variance.
Well, and this was an area too where there was, it was kind of a nature-y, preserve-ish type area, and it was drainage stuff that was mostly crossing through that, you had to be mindful of.
I have a client who's building in Bexley, of all places. They were lucky to find a lot.
Yeah, I can't.
But they found out that because the previous owner had removed trees without approval, they either had to replace all those trees on their lot or find other people within the city limits who would let them plant trees on their lot.
Oh, that's weird.
What?
That's
like
what he
just
told
to
me.
make up the amount of trees.
Yeah, to make
that
up the
were
amount of trees.
Wow.
So,
I've never heard that. So,
but it's a really unique situation.
yeah, that is very unique.
And so he's been dealing with trees before he could break ground.
That's so funny. That's the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
So, what do you guys think? Are there any other
Contingencies?
I mean, there's some. That would be maybe more common. I don't think so. I think.
It's finance, inspection, and appraisal.
Yeah, those are the biggest ones.
Yeah. What about writing in contingencies?
Well, some of those ones that we just talked about are all
what we
written
just
in.
covered, right?
Yeah, we write in those.
I'm trying to
or
think.
to write them out.
What about you all out there?
What are some weird things that you've seen? Any agents who are watching? Any
agents
lenders or
watching?
title companies?
Lenders, title companies.
We can't see what
whoever.
you're saying.
We can go
Click over to mine. I've got my thing pulled up. Hey, Chris.
Write it on TJ.
So Chris's wife, Julia, is also an agent. She does a lot of commercial work. I bet you she sees all sorts of really interesting
Yeah, that would be on
contingencies.
the other side.
Yeah.
So I guess we're good, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I think we've covered everything.
So, Amanda, what's our magic topic for next week?
I don't know. I can't
Just gotta walk over.
Oh, wait, hold on. I should have looked. Oh, buying with a home sale contingency.
Maybe we'll come up with something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as always, if you're watching on the replay, let us know. thank you for watching.
Yes.
Let us know if there's anything you want to learn about in the big real estate world. I'm hoping, actually, I have an idea, and we'll see if Wayne is up for this. Wayne is currently rehabbing a house to flip. And I would love, because I know so many people watch HGTV, so many people think that that is an easy, wonderful, easy way to make money. I would love to interview Wayne next week in the house, do a quick tour of the house.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
And we haven't yet because I don't believe it's ready quite yet. He's been putting pictures online, but I think we should do that. I was going to ask him if he wanted to do that today.
No, that would
your phone's over
Yeah.
there. Should we just call him now? No, I'm not going to do that.
No.
Well,
he's busy.
He's busy.
I'll call him. So
Wayne,
maybe,
we're gonna
maybe
text you
next
later.
week we'll interview a flipper.
HGTV episode.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
All right. Well, everyone have a great day.
Yes.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to Wednesday.
Bye.
Cheers to Wednesday. Oh yeah, background. Hey, we have a guest. There she is. Say hi to my daughter, Sarah. Oh, Juana's watching. Did you tell her to watch? Hey, Juana.
Bye.